When I rolled over into Germany, I started to experience an uneasy sense of guilt. It took me back to the time in 1990 when I crossed the border from Poland into the post-war eastern side of Germany on a night train en route to Berlin. Maybe there was something I didn't want to remember or perhaps admit to myself. Maybe it was something I wasn't proud of and had buried away hoping would never see the light of day. Isn't it funny how your emotions can get the best of you when you're exhausted and you have to deal with new and stressful situations in completely foreign environments? That's also exactly the reason why I love to travel so much, as it takes you to the limits of your comfort zone and beyond. When I realised that it was going to be completely dark within the hour, I was surrounded by large flat farming fields with very little prospect of finding a decent place to even stealth camp. But then I came across a very large farmhouse and I had the bright idea to go and knock on the door to ask whether I could pitch my tent on the owner's land. Well, some 14 hours later, I'd enjoyed a great dinner, beers, shots of Jack Daniels, as well as breakfast with such a friendly farmer couple and their super cute dog Stella. In Bremerhaven, I was hosted by a wonderful lady who was a very experienced bike tourer. She'd done trips to Cuba, the US and New Zealand, amongst many other places. She gladly shared her many stories, experiences, as well as travel tips with me, all of which I greatly welcomed as a complete newbie to the world of bike touring. The morning I rode out of Bremerhaven, I received a message that would have me change my heading due south, steering away from my original route going through Amsterdam. My initial disappointment at not visiting Amsterdam was quickly replaced with the realization that I was no longer attached to a set schedule to meet anybody. I was also no longer riding into the most severe headwind of my life. But what's most amazing about this change is that my new route would result in perhaps the most immediately impactful and significant encounter of the entire journey. G'day guys, it's the evening here in Oldenburg, Germany. I'm in the campground Just wanted to give you a bit of a look around. I'm making dinner. It's nothing exciting, but this is how I've been living every day. So there's my dinner, a bit of macaroni, that's from actually Lidl in Finland, some tuna, some nice pumpernickel bread, some cheese and meat, a bit of coffee coming later. I've already been to the shop, so I've got a couple of beers. Those things, they only cost like 49 cents, which is pretty good. All that shopping cost me like €6. Okay, there's some sweets, that's for tomorrow. I'm not having those tonight, maybe. Ramen for tomorrow, and there you go. So that's pretty much how I'm living. So it's been good though, I'm really enjoying it. So thanks again for your support. See ya. Guys, I'm in a place called Wortley, I think. I don't know how you pronounce it. Yep, it's going to be a nice day, I'm hoping. If you can look at the sky, it's no clouds there, but it was actually raining about an hour ago. But I've got my bike all packed. Haven't combed my hair. I've just got this bed head, which I've had for probably 2.5 weeks now, and I don't care. But yeah, so it was a good night, and hopefully I'll have another good day today, and I should be actually getting pretty close to the Dutch border, if not actually over it. So it's kind of weird, because you'll go over the Dutch border, then back into Germany and back into Holland again. So well, we'll see how the day goes. But anyway, that's it. Thanks again. Bye. On day 20, I arrived at a camping ground on the outskirts of Emmerich, near the Rhine River, in complete darkness. It had been pissing it down for hours, and I was soaked through and freezing, experiencing an extreme case of I want my mummy-itis. Then, while pitching my tent on a soaked plot of grass, a guy that I had stopped earlier to ask for directions came to invite me to stay at his house. With my latest random host, I enjoyed a delicious dinner, beers, and shots of some nondescript rocket fuel, all with some great chats about life and travel. In the morning, as I was about to leave for a crossing of the Rhine River, my host gifted me with a comfy gel touring saddle after he saw the rock-hard racing one I'd suffered with for the last 1,500 kilometers. That one act of understanding, spontaneous kindness and generosity literally saved my ass, completely changing the nature of my journey. To that point, I'd mainly been focused on managing my physical discomforts, and by that I mean a sore rear end. Now I was free to focus on managing my thoughts instead of saddle sores. It was now definitely confirmed. Ich liebe Sie Germans! These kinds of random encounters would continue to occur throughout the entire journey, with one of the most significant occurring in Sint-Truiden in Belgium with my warm showers hosts, a very experienced bike touring couple who had even ridden all the way from Europe to Singapore. In addition to the great local beer tasting session I was greeted with upon my arrival, they gave me a well-researched route to guide me along the famous Camino de Santiago pilgrimage pathway. To now navigate, all I had to do was follow the blue line on my Google Maps iPhone app all the way to Santiago de Compostela in Spain. This would include guiding me down some special cycling routes, such as Ravels, which were old railway lines that had been converted to bikeways. Discovering these pathways, as well as many other quiet roads and hidden trails, ones that I certainly would never have found on my own, made me feel like I was on some kind of secret treasure hunt, just like Robert Langdon and Sophie Neveu in the Da Vinci Code. After all of these numerous serendipitous experiences, it really felt like something strange was happening behind the scenes, that I was somehow being set up to meet exactly the right people in the right places at the right times, and they'll go out of their way to help you along your journey without any ulterior motives, just with the simple desire and passion for sharing. Up to this point in my life, or 51 years of it, I'd become quite cynical about people's motives, which had significantly affected my ability to trust and show vulnerability. Unfortunately, being this way can also lock out of my life those people who've done nothing to deserve my ice-cold wrath, which my daughter Enya likes to call the Prince of Darkness treatment. During this stage of the journey, I came to see that the world is actually full of some truly amazing people, and if you open yourself up to the possibility of meeting them, then you certainly will.
Bye, bonjour.
As I meandered down the banks of the Meuse River towards France, I started to consider whether there might just be an even greater purpose in all of this. However, I'd now been handed the key to free myself from the self-imposed psychological prison of mistrust I'd been festering in for the better part of the last 10 years, and I didn't hesitate to open the cell door to make my escape.